Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Living the Fantasy with your boys, Matt and Kyle. Today we're doing the AFC Conference for free agency updates. So we're going to dive into the AFC East. The Patriots are the first team. Not much changed besides losing Tom Brady. So, that's a big change, I guess.
And honestly, we'll know more once we figure out who their quarterback is. I think we can all assume, but pretty much the team stays similar in my opinion. They don't really have any weapons. They don't really have any weapons that you're drafting though right now. Like, there's nobody that you're really excited about. I think James White late you could draft, but pretty much everybody else is going to be right where they were.
Oh no, dude, Brian Hoyer's the new quarterback, man.
Yeah, if Brian Hoyer's the quarterback. Brian Hoyer is the quarterback. I'm still not drafting him.
Nah, he's a backup, but they picked him up. They got Demary Bird, I believe. They lost some other players in free agency too, like their linebacking core is basically gone. They just lost a bunch of players. They re-signed the McCourty twins. I know that.
They signed most of them. They signed Obi Melifonwu. They signed pretty much most of their defense back. They only released a few players. They kept Devin McCourty. They kept Bo Allen.
Yeah, but those guys they got, but their linebacking core, oof.
I don't know. We'll see.
But anyways, yeah, not a lot has changed in fantasy purposes, so just stay tuned for that one. I guess the draft will get more info on that.
That's definitely a stay tuned kind of team because N'Keal Harry's one to watch. We want to see what he can do, but obviously with these quarterbacks in there and with the coaching staff, I wouldn't stick with it.
Yeah. So going to the Bills. So Stephon Diggs, that's one of the big things.
That's a pretty big adjustment for them, honestly.
You think Stephon Diggs is better or worse than he did last year? So last year, 63 catches, 1,130 yards, and 6 TDs.
Worse.
I'm
going to say worse by a little bit, but only because I think that him and John Brown are going to be splitting pretty much everything. I think they're going to be right down the middle, like even contributors to the offense. So I think it's really a good thing, honestly, for John Brown to have somebody taking the threat away from him, basically, because Cole Beasley was the only one who was doing that last year, and it was very inconsistent.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what it means for John Brown though, because John Brown had a pretty decent year. I don't know if his year goes down a little bit or better. I don't know. It's tough to say. But for Diggs, I think it's possible Diggs has more catches and more touchdowns, but the yards being 1,030, I don't know if he goes past that again. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's going to be close.
I think he's going to be a little better on the year in terms of fantasy points, though.
See, I think he's going to be close. I think he's about 100 yards shy, and I don't think that's a bad year by any means. A 1,000-yard receiver is something to be excited about.
Yeah, I think it helps out their whole team. I think I like Josh Allen as the quarterback, to be honest, and I think they'll be fine. I think a lot of people are sleeping on him. They're just saying, "Oh, Josh Allen is a quarterback, have fun," but like joking around and shit. But honestly, I think Josh Allen's better than Kirk Cousins, so.
Well, I think their team chemistry is just really strong. So I'm sticking with Devin Singletary. I'm sticking with Stephon and John Brown. I like John Brown a little bit better than I like Stephon Diggs, but I think that they're going to be a really good team.
For the value, I feel you.
For the value, for sure.
And then defense, there was a lot of shit they did on defense, but yeah, that's irrelevant.
Yeah.
So,
Pretty much that's all that they did.
So then the Jets, they lost Robbie. Robbie ended up going to the Panthers, which we kind of talked about in the last video that might be a thing. I didn't think it was actually going to happen, but I guess it did. So I don't think that really affects much there, honestly. It's just another mouth to feed.
They're a pure dumpster fire, honestly, the Jets. There's nothing that I really like about their receiving core or their quarterback situation right now or running backs. Le'Veon Bell I'm not really high on. It's kind of a tough team to get excited about.
Yeah. Rashad Perryman they got. I'm not drafting them.
Yeah, I can't draft any of these guys.
I got 4 linemen. I don't know if any of them are any good. I think they're all kind of trash. But hey,
if you can grab any player on their team in the last round, I'd say do it. But aside from that,
any player,
I'm gonna avoid.
I would take Le'Veon Bell. I'm just not taking him that early. If you get him in the 5th round.
Yeah, but we know where he's going to go. Player. We know that running backs as we get closer to the draft are going to be skyrocketing up the draft board. So if you can draft early in the summer and you can get him in the 4th, 5th round, by all means, jump for it. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, then just a loss, losing Robbie, Robbie Anderson going to the Panthers. I know this is AFC, but I don't think it really does much for the Panthers either. Like I said in the other video, I think that J.J. Moore's a guy there. I'm not drafting Robbie or Curtis Samuel either way. So just want to put that
Yeah.
out there real quick.
I hope that their offense succeeds over in Carolina, but it doesn't change much for them either, I think.
Yeah. Dolphins.
Dolphins.
We got Jordan Howard, bro.
I mean, I don't think it does much, in all honesty. I think that's the only change that they have, and it's not one that I really like. They had a ton of increases on defense, which is where they get their, it impacts their offense in a way. If you can get the team hype, then maybe they try a little bit harder on offense, try a little harder on defense, and you get some better organization with the Dolphins.
I mean, they definitely improved a lot as a team, though, too. Yeah, defense, like
They
Brian
did.
Jones, Kyle Van Noy, Emmanuel Ogba, I like, Shaq Lawson.
Well, and that's what
Kevin
happens when you get a
Hill.
quarterback that can put up some numbers. Like, he's reckless, but he gets the job done.
Well, I mean, they're not going to stay with his ass, though.
I know, and they probably won't. But like, obviously, we'll see what happens as we get to the draft and all that. If they don't draft anybody, which I mean they should, but if they don't, then we know what they're doing.
Eric Flowers, pretty shitty fucking lineman, so they got that going for him. But I mean, Jordan Howard, dude, I think if Jordan Howard's a starter, that's not bad. Like, I think he can.
Yeah.
He can put in work. I mean, he might be worth
Yeah.
a flyer.
I think he could, but I like their passing game a lot better. If you have Fitz at the helm, it's gonna
Devontae Parker.
then he's gonna be slinging it. So it's gonna take away from the run game a little.
That could be an up-and-coming team to watch, though, for sure. Like, next year might be, like, a great fantasy value, like, for all their players. Like, let's say they get, like, Tua, Jordan Howard, and Parker. That could be a good three-man threat.
Yeah, they would have a speedy offense, honestly. They'd be doing a lot of options and shit. It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. But that's a wait and see as well, because you just don't know the quarterback situation.
You just don't
changes a
know.
lot.
Yeah. The draft with the coming draft, we'll know a lot more on like fantasy values and all that stuff.
Yeah. So AFC North, Ravens. It really didn't do shit, honestly, for offense. So I mean, nothing really changes on them for fantasy value.
Yeah.
They got Michael Brockers, which actually I don't think they got Michael Brockers. I think he failed his thing because he's injured or some shit. So they might be getting Michael Brockers eventually if he fucking passes his physical.
Yeah, I haven't seen that on the transaction sheet yet. So
yeah, at least he failed his physical. Matt Judon, I think they franchised his ass. I think Jimmy Smith.
They did.
Re-signed. They re-signed the center.
Signed Derek Wolf.
Yeah. They did a couple little
it's
things, but nothing too serious.
It's little things on defense, but when you're a championship team, you don't really need to change much. You just need to keep the options that you have.
Yeah. I mean, for their team, it's good. I'm just fantasy, it's pretty useless.
Fantasy,
honestly.
nothing changes. Yeah, I mean, you're still drafting their players. You're still drafting Lamar
The
Jackson.
defense is still going to be hit and miss and pretty decent to have on your team, though. I always get the Ravens every year, pretty much, in at least one league.
Yep, Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, maybe he does something better. Lamar, I don't know. As long as Lamar's healthy, I mean, it's the same team as last year.
Exactly. Team to be excited about.
Yeah. Steelers. So, Eric Ebron. That doesn't change shit for me, honestly. They didn't use their tight end last year like we thought they were.
Yep. We were hype on Vance McDonald, and he never performed. So I think we got to stick with.
So now I'm with that trend. They just don't fucking. The tight ends are useless, man.
Yeah.
Ever since what was his name? Heath Miller. I mean, Heath Miller. I liked him, but I don't even know if he had any good fantasy years. I mean, he had some good games.
He did. He did back in the day.
That's a long time ago. Yeah.
Back in those times, he was an elite tight end for a couple of years. But since Mike Tomlin, Mike Tomlin just doesn't like to use his tight ends as much as you'd like him to. So.
Or maybe the current offensive coordinator there. I don't know. Maybe the one back in the day they had a different one.
Yeah, it's possible.
I'd have to look into that. But I mean,
probably very likely, honestly.
Yeah. But I mean,
coaches can go through a lot.
You could see them signing Ebron as like, hey, like we need help. Maybe we want to target him in the red zone.
Maybe they want to use it more, and they didn't see the same things that we saw in Vance McDonald.
Maybe.
And so that's why they grabbed Eric Ebron. He could end up being, elite, but like it's hard to put all your trust into that when you've got screwed over by it the year before.
He's something that you can draft, but just like draft late is like a flyer that knowing that like, hey, this might not work out, but like at least I have a guy that has some sort of talent,
Yeah.
But I'm not going to overdraft the Steelers tight end this year.
Yeah, can't do it. You'll just you'll be losing money.
And then they did a couple little things like Steven Wisniewski, the guard, not a bad signing. I like him. Derek Watt, the Watt brothers reunite. So.
And then Ryan Shazier is one to watch out for as well for the reserve list.
Yeah, but he ain't coming back this year.
You never know, man. We don't know what's going on with him.
I'd be surprised. That'd be a huge surprise.
I would be too, but just seeing the name on the list, it's a hot name to watch.
Yeah. Browns, they got Austin Hooper.
Austin Hooper.
They stole him from you.
What does this mean for Njoku? Is my question.
I mean, even for Austin Hooper, because if you have two tight ends split in time, I mean.
No, I mean the whole situation is just horrendous. It's Austin Hooper was one of my favorite tight ends to grab in Dynasty, and he went to the absolute worst team for tight ends.
I feel like if you're gonna pick up Austin Hooper like this, dude, that means you're trading probably Njoku draft day. Honestly, I could see him trading Njoku on the draft day, and
I hope they do. I hope they either trade Austin Hooper or trade Njoku, because right now, I mean, that's two elite tight ends that are being wasted in a shitty offense.
right, and then exactly. So you hopefully they change Njoku or trade Njoku, and then he can have some sort of value.
Yeah, or if they use them right in double tight end sets, it'd be. I mean, it'd be great to see.
But
But
trust in the Browns, man.
yeah, I can't get behind it. So my draft stock on Austin Hooper has gone down tremendously.
Oh yeah, a lot.
Some people probably look at this signing and go, "Oh, well, that brings up Baker Mayfield's stock," but I'm just not on that. I'm not on that train of thought yet. I think it just brings down Austin Hooper's.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, I think Jack Conklin's going to be good for him. They needed some offensive line help because that pass rush, their line wasn't doing their job, man. I mean, Baker got fucked up, but a lot of it was on Baker, and then also just the offensive coordinator just was the route combinations and everything. I watched a video on it, and it's pretty shitty. They couldn't even get Odell Beckham into space. So,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, it's tough. They have a new general manager and they have a new wide receiver coach, and both two decent names there. So I don't know. I'm not sure if like they're trying to put the right people in the right places, but like they don't recognize that the coach isn't trying to do the same thing that they're trying to do. It just I don't know. I'm
Case
hoping.
Keenum back up.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions. It's a lot of question marks.
They got Carl Joseph and Sendejo on defense now. I don't know, just a couple of little things. But yeah, Bengals.
I like Case Keenum.
Bengals franchise tagged AJ Green. So, is that
They released a lot of defensive threats as well.
they released a lot?
Yeah, the Bengals. They released at least I think 4 cornerbacks.
Yeah, they did release their cornerbacks, but they signed new ones. They got
They signed
Trey Waynes
Torrey McTyer.
and Mackenzie Alexander from the Vikings. It was like, hey Vikings, let me get your corners, and
Yeah,
Von Bell.
they got rid of B.W. Webb and Dre Kirkpatrick though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And Denard, so.
And they signed a new wide receiver coach.
Yeah, they got that guard that was on the Cowboys a while ago, Xavier Su'a-Filo or whatever.
Yeah, so I mean, pretty much nothing's changed on the offensive side of the ball. I like Tyler Boyd just like I liked him last year. AJ Green is somebody that if you have a draft closer to the regular season, he's worth putting, using a pick on. But if you have a draft early before spring training camp and all that other stuff, he's probably going to get injured. Putting that out there, he's probably getting injured in training camp, and he's probably not going to play.
Yeah.
I'm at that point with AJ. So
he's just a guy. He's Alshon Jeffrey right now. Like the
closer we get to regular season, the safer he is, in my opinion.
But even then, he's gonna get injured in regular season, 100%.
And I have a feeling he is. But even if you get him for a couple games, you're probably getting him at good value anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that you could draft. Just don't draft him early.
Because a lot of people are going to just have him on their do not draft list, that might be something to take advantage of.
Right. Well, he should get drafted. Like I would draft him. I just don't draft him where he should go. Draft him where he shouldn't be going. Like,
I don't think he's going to be drafted where he should go. You know what I'm saying? Like,
hopefully he doesn't.
It's a complete steal.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully he's in that steal category but
yeah.
And it also depends on who's throwing the ball. Like Andy Dalton right now is still there, but I think there's been so many talks about him going and getting traded.
If Andy Dalton isn't the starting quarterback, I'm actually kind of frustrated unless they draft somebody that's better, But if they use another quarterback, like if they use
They're back
who's
what
that
they did
rookie
last
they
year.
have? Yeah, I'm not a big fan of him. So I would much rather have Andy Dalton. He's got a better head on his shoulders.
Andy Dalton for fantasy is fine for the receivers. Like if he's there, like you can draft their team with ease. But if he's not there, then it's like ooh.
Huge, yeah.
Huge.
Huge.
Even a rookie quarterback, like you don't know what he's gonna do. It's unknown, So it's like that's scary.
Yeah, we're in the same boat on that. That's I do love some Andy Dalton, man.
Yeah, he's great for fantasy, just not for their team.
He's like a Case Keenum, Alex Smith type, man.
He's fucking
just
Jameis Winston,
smooth and
man.
easy. Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston. He puts up some numbers.
He's not slinging 400 yards a game.
Gets the receivers looking nice.
Jameis, though, he's throwing 400 yards a game. That's a whole other story.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, he's got some better weapons to work with. I don't know.
I feel you. I understand where you're coming from. I think he's more smooth
and he's
than
had
that,
some
though.
crazy good games, though.
Okay.
I'm just
All
saying.
right,
I'm
you're
saying
right.
with the receiver
You're
core,
right.
when he's there, everybody eats. You know.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Uh,
Everybody does eat. That's a fact.
AFC West.
AFC West. Let's start with that.
We got the Chargers. They didn't do shit. They got Brian Bulaga, Leval Joseph, Chris Harris, a couple guys like that. I mean, for their team, they did some stuff, but I mean, they lost Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
Sauce from Eckler. Shares are back up, baby.
Yeah. Question is more about running backs at this point. What are they doing there? They got Eckler. They got who did the host do they sign?
I don't know. I think that last year they showed that they were comfortable with Eckler, and it worked. And I mean, I'm cool with drafting Eckler. I like Eckler. He's a big. I mean, Austin Eckler's the guy, man. He's a beast. But other than that, like they really didn't do much. So I mean, you could treat their whole team as the same.
Well,
Philip
Rivers.
Yeah, Philip Rivers is gone.
Yeah, they lost Thomas Davis. They lost a shit ton of players, honestly, but nobody worth like talking about.
Right.
Not on offense, anyway.
It's really just, are they going to really run with Tyrod Taylor or not? If they run with Tyrod Taylor, I don't want any part of their offense, really. Maybe Eckler, but I mean, I'm not going to.
Hunter Henry.
I don't even want him.
I love Hunter Henry.
He was risky even with Philip Rivers, dude, because he got injured too much.
Well, yeah, but he didn't get injured last year, really, right?
He did for like at least 2 games. I forgot what it was, but
He was worth having. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, he was all right. But
It depends on who their quarterback is. So if they have Easton Stick at QB, then that's going to be kind of a interesting thing. If they have like Tyrod Taylor at quarterback, that's going to be an interesting thing. But if
I was pretty high last year on Keenan Allen. The year before that, I like Keenan Allen. I've been liking Keenan Allen this last couple of years, but with the quarterback situation right now, I don't think I like Keenan Allen or anybody on that offense really. So going into the Broncos, Melvin Gordon went there.
Melvin Gordon went to the Broncos, yes.
So
Philip Lindsay, Melvin Gordon, Royce Freeman.
see, I already didn't like that backfield because like it's just so hit and miss, and now you can add another guy in there. Like
It's a trap.
it's a trap, bro. I don't want any part of it.
It's a trap. You put equity into a. Well, you know what's funny about this, honestly?
I mean, you could basically say bye to their third stringer, Royce Freeman.
I already had Philip Rivers and Royce Freeman on one dynasty team. Guess who else I have? Melvin Gordon. I literally have all 3 of those players on the same dynasty team. That's a tough situation. I mean, yes, you're guaranteed a starter at some point, probably. But at one point, I was playing all 3 of those running backs in the same game.
I mean, to be honest, I think Royce Freeman's probably going to get traded or something on like draft day. So
I don't know what he's worth, though. He hasn't really shown out to be, an elite runner. He hasn't found his own path.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I don't like it. I don't want Melvin Gordon. I don't want Lindsey. I think they can both produce, but it's just like, what game are they going to produce?
Personally, I think either Melvin Gordon or Philip Lindsay is going to get fucking traded.
Well, they just got Melvin Gordon. No, they wouldn't.
Yeah, but if they could get more for him than what they traded away, probably Philip Lindsay's who's going to end up getting traded because they don't want to like just have a weapon like that sitting on the bench, and you can't put both guys in at the same time like consistently.
This just reminds me of last year, like Eckler and Melvin Gordon, right? We were like, who do you start? And it was like
Eckler was the man.
Eckler was generally the guy, and Melvin.
Almost
but like,
every game.
But like sometimes they both produced. But sometimes
they
it
would
was
both
only
produce.
Eckler that would produce, and Melvin Gordon would get like, I don't know, 4 to 8 points.
They would both produce, but Melvin Gordon, he was pretty much behind in almost every game.
Yeah.
Behind Eckler, and we thought Eckler was just a scat back, little guy.
You would think that as soon as Melvin
Yep.
Gordon's back, Eckler's gone.
Yeah, that's not how
But
it
that's
went.
not how it went.
Now
So
we know.
is that how it's going to go on the Broncos? Are they going to use more Philip Lindsay, and then are they going to use Melvin Gordon the same way?
Yeah.
So
It's hard to
it's
say.
It's hard to say.
So it's a trap. Try to stay away from that backfield, honestly.
That's what I don't like the Broncos in general.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of their of John Elway, so I can't really
I like Cortland Sutton, but other than that, but
yeah, Cortland Sutton's a beast.
I mean, they got AJ Boyd, Justin Simmons on defense. They franchised.
I like that
A
part
couple things like that, but other than that, nothing too big.
for sure. All right.
So going to the Chiefs, Sammy Watkins, Demarcus Robinson, Rick Seals. They all got signed or re-signed. Chris Jones franchise tagged. So really nothing changed. It's pretty much the exact same team almost.
Exact same
So
roster,
it's like-
and nothing's changed. Stick with Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill, Mahomes the beast. I mean, there's nothing else to say there really. It's just Chiefs to the Chiefs.
And remember that he's going to produce more than he did last year. So if you get him in the same spot in the draft, he's worth it. You know.
Well, I mean, Tyreek plays 16 games this season. Boom, crazy.
Yeah, that's just instant success.
Mm-hmm.
On to the Raiders.
Raiders. We got Jason Witten, Marcus Mariota. We got a bunch of Cowboys, honestly. Jeff Heath. We got
a bunch of Cowboys defensive players.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're set up to fail with that because the Cowboys suck. But anyways, Corey Littleton.
Well, they picked the wrong Cowboys players. Really, honestly,
yeah.
They picked the guys that I mean, Jason Witten. I think he's really strong, but he's not gonna be like a starter. He's not gonna be a starter on your fantasy team. Is the thing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I like Corey Littleton, but
you can put him on the field and he's gonna fight to make blocks and to just be an elite player. He's gonna fight to do that, but he's not gonna ever give you enough yards to make him a viable fantasy player.
Yeah, I like the Marcus
Randall. Marcus Randall is a great pick, but you can't do anything with him in fantasy.
Yeah, Carl Nassib.
So Carl Nassib,
Jason Witten. I've always liked Jason Witten, but as a player, but last year he just sucked. Honestly, if you watch him, he dropped open passes multiple times. And he never used to do that. He was always catching them for sure.
That's true. He was very sure-handed.
Very sure-handed. Now he's definitely lost a step. So I mean, like you said in the running back game, in the running game, I don't know. Is he still the same blocker? I don't watch tight ends blocking, so I can't really say. But
he does. He does definitely block. That's for sure. The dude, he extends his arms. He's an absolute beast.
I mean, maybe he can do better this
next
year.
Maybe he opens up the run game for Josh Jacobs.
Maybe. But I mean, yeah, fantasy-wise, nothing really changes. Marcus Mariota back up. If Derek gets injured, I mean, maybe Mariota has some sort of value during the season. I don't know.
Yeah, it's all pretty much the same. We're talking possibilities here, but it's all the same.
All the same, really. Yeah. Darren Waller is the guy you're drafting as a tight end there anyway, so it's you're not drafting.
Yeah, exactly. Darren Waller is their receiving tight end. So
AFC South, we got Houston. DeAndre Hopkins gone. All right, everybody knows about this already. Talked about it in the last video. But how does that affect their team? Are you
the biggest question is who's getting the touchdowns. That's what everybody wants to know. Who's getting the touchdowns now? So DeAndre Hopkins was a touchdown guy.
So they signed. Let's get into the signings real quick. They signed Cobb, and they signed Fells or re-signed Fells. So they still have their tight end, red zone threat dude. Yeah. Kenny Stills is still there. Fuller's still there. So that's their receiving core right now. Fuller, Stills, and Randall Cobb. So.
And
And then running back, they signed David Johnson, which we'll get into in a second. But
Kiki Kute is going to make a comeback in everybody's minds as well, right?
I don't know if that's going to happen, but I don't think I don't know. Is DeAndre?
I don't think he will. I'm putting that out there, but I'm just,
Or is Deshaun Watson a guy you still like? I mean, are you drafting him still?
Deshaun Watson I still love, even without DeAndre Hopkins, without Nuck, Yeah,
he could have a couple rough games though. For sure.
Yeah, he's going to have rough games because he never really had an offensive line, and the only thing that kept him alive really was having DeAndre Hopkins and those speedy receivers around DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
But Darren Fells had 7 touchdowns last year. He had half of he had the exact same amount of touchdowns as DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah. Stills had 4 touchdowns, so he had the second most on the team for receivers.
Yeah, the touchdowns kind of down honestly last year. They didn't really have many.
Yeah.
So
I think that Deshaun Watkins can easily climb up above what he did last year, and I think that the rest of the team will climb up just like he will.
Yeah.
Because those 7 touchdowns have to go somewhere. They have to go to somebody else.
Out of those 3 receivers, who do you like?
I think I like Kenny Stills the best, honestly.
Yeah.
Typically, I would say I like Will Fuller the best, but this year I think he takes the role of DeAndre Hopkins, and then Randall Cobb takes his role, and Will Fuller continues the same role that he's always had.
So the Texans were talking about Will Fuller being they believe in his elite talent and all that kind of shit. So I think as long as he's starting, I think Will Fuller is the guy. But the problem is he gets injured every year. So it's if you're talking about for the season longevity, Kenny Stills can be good, but
Kenny Stills comes with less injury risk than Will Fuller does.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say is. Yeah, I don't know. And maybe they draft somebody if they can get a guy like CeeDee Lamb or something, but they're pretty far back in the draft.
They probably will. Like this receiver core is not really serviceable. It's not good enough to be successful, I don't think. But
they have a bunch of number 2 receivers.
Yeah.
At 3.
Deshaun Watson can make it happen. He's that good, I think. Yeah. So.
We'll know more about this team when the draft and everything's over, though, because I don't think
For sure.
they're done. I think they're gonna draft. They have to draft a guy like maybe like they get like Mims or some sort of later receiver that's gonna be a good. I don't know.
And I think their success is also tied to how well David Johnson does. If he comes back and he performs like old school David Johnson, then obviously the rest of their team is gonna have heightened results as well.
So how do you feel about David Johnson?
I'm down on him. I really am. I don't like how he performed last year.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
when Kenyon Drake's outperforming you, and all these random guys that I don't really have much interest in. I mean, it's tough.
I feel you. David Johnson. I don't want him on my team, but he could be a guy where you draft later on. Like I used to draft Lamar Miller because he was safe.
Mark
Like,
Ingram.
you know what he's gonna. Yeah, you knew what he was gonna do. Like he was gonna get a couple points. He was gonna get at least like 8 to 10 points. And so if you needed somebody to plug in that gets 8 to 10 points, he's a starter. Starter running backs are rare, you know. So it's like if you can get David Johnson later, it might not be bad because I mean best case scenario he turns into David Johnson we all knew back in the day.
Yeah.
I think that's
Worst case scenario, you get him.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. But I mean I think at least he's a starting running back and he gets production.
Well, worst case scenario, you're getting a running back just a little bit later than you would normally get them. So
Yeah, it could be somebody to draft. I just not early, obviously.
as far as like backfields where there's only one running back and he's like the guy, like that's pretty much Houston right now, right? So
Yeah, pretty much.
that's the best case scenario. That's what you could really hope to have.
Yeah. They re-signed some DBs, or they signed some DBs and different things on defense and whatnot, so not too much.
Yeah, they did.
But Colts, they got
Colts.
Philip Rivers.
I don't even know how I like that. Like I don't know how I feel about it.
I mean, it's better than last year because they didn't have. I mean, Jacoby Brissett wasn't. I don't know.
I don't think
He's
they were
not
that
bad,
bad.
but he's not. I honestly, I don't think much changes. Honestly, between Brissett and Philip Rivers, I don't think that's much of a difference.
I'm in agreement with you on that. I think that Brissett has more mobility than Philip Rivers, and that's what makes him like more interesting. But like as far as their throwing, Philip Rivers kind of has been short arming it later in his career,
Yeah.
and he hasn't been good since that shoulder injury or that elbow injury or whatever a few years back.
But maybe he can come in and offer some more consistency.
Yeah, and that's possible. It's definitely what the coach wants.
I mean, I don't know who they have on their team though. That's like I don't want anybody on their team. They lost.
Yeah, they got
lost
Ty,
their
who's
tight end.
not as good.
Yeah,
Who-
Ty's
I
always
mean, they
injured
have
now. I'm not drafting
What
him.
is it, Jack Doyle?
Jack Doyle is just he's an unathletic tight end.
Yeah, unathletic tight end. They've got an unathletic wide receiver at this point because he's getting old.
I don't know what they had to offer really.
Yeah, it's not much. So if they don't
I
grab
kind
a
of just staying away
receiver,
from their whole team, honestly.
yeah,
Because even their
Paris
running game
Campbell.
scares me. Like
Oh yeah,
Mac is a beast, but like
I love Mac, but he's so inconsistent and like the injury stuff.
because of the team. Like he's a running back that doesn't get pass catches, so if they're behind, he's not going to do much. And if
they're not never
they
ahead.
get shut down in the run game, then he's not going to do much. So it's like he's going to have some good games, but he's just going to have a lot of bad ones. So he's scary.
Yeah.
I don't
Agreed.
know. That whole team is very
Keep away.
yeah, red flaggish.
Yeah.
I mean, they got some guys like Xavier Rhodes. They traded for Buckner, which isn't bad, I guess, but they get the 13th pick, so I mean, no CD Lamb there. I don't know.
Yeah.
So there's not much for fantasy, though.
It's not good. Their defense goes up a few pegs, but their
The
offense
defense has
goes
been
down a
good,
few
yeah.
pegs.
That's just that offense could be scary.
All right.
But
Well,
Jaguars,
we'll see. Yeah.
we got the Tyler Eifert. Nick Foles got traded. So like Minshew Mania is
We
the
know
guy
the
now.
starter, which is good. I like Minshew Mania just a little bit better for that team.
Fantasy wise, he did pretty good for him. Honestly, like DJ Chark did good with them. I think you could draft DJ Chark and be pretty confident now.
I do like their passing game this year.
I like DJ
I'm
Chark, but he
excited.
fell off last year. But I think he's still pretty decent. DD Westbrook was good with Foles, and he's not good with Minshew, so I don't think he's going to be that good next year. So don't draft DG. He's not going to be much.
Yeah, I think it's good to go through like the splits depending on which quarterback was throwing, because
Yeah.
that's important. I mean, quarterbacks do have their favorite receivers, and you got to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler Eifert's still an injury-prone tight end. I mean, maybe he does decent, but
He's a do not draft for me, man.
I'm
He
not
really is.
touching him really. And even if Even if he didn't get injured, it's the Jaguars. Like, do you want a
Well,
Jaguars tight end?
their offense is going to pick up this year, I think.
Yeah, but who was their tight end last year?
I don't know.
Exactly. Either do
Gerald
I.
Everett? No.
I forgot.
Who would? Oh, Gerald Everett was Rams.
I
Um,
literally don't even know who the tight end is, dude.
oh, it was Jeff Swaim, wasn't it?
I mean, yeah, they released that, but was he the starter?
I think so.
See, there you go. Like, that tells you everything you need to know. Like, they don't use tight ends.
Yeah, I wonder what kind of stats he had last year because I was actually really high on him going into the year,
Yeah.
and that didn't pan
They
out.
picked up, like, Joe Schobert. I don't know. There's
Oh my
really not that
God,
much stuff that they've done, really.
Swaim had 65 yards last year.
Yeah, so is that their starter? If that's their starter, that's pretty fucking sad. And
That is sad.
I don't know if that's their starter or not because I don't know who their tight
I
ends
think
are.
it is. I think it is.
So it's like, are you high on that Eifert? Nope, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, I know. James O'Shaughnessy had the most receiving yards.
Oh yeah, that's the. Wasn't he a rookie? James Osane.
I don't think he was a rookie. I think he was set like 2015 draft.
Is he?
Yeah, James O'Shaughnessy, 2015 draft, round 5 pick. He had 150 yards with him on 14 receptions.
Jesus, dude.
Yeah, and he was their best tight end. They don't use tight ends at all.
Yeah,
Seth
so
DeValve was the other one. They used Nick O'Leary a little bit. They used Jeff Swaim a little bit.
so best case for Tyler Eifert is like 300 yards, 3 TDs.
They had seven. They had 7 tight ends get catches on the year, and they still didn't crack like 300 yards together.
Jesus.
Yeah, so stay away from tight ends with the Jags, I guess.
Yeah, so basically nothing changes. You just know who
Yeah,
the tight
Tyler
end, you
Eifert's
just know who the
still
starting quarterback
insignificant.
is.
Yeah.
Titans. Tannehill got re-signed to a fatty. Nice little deal there
Beautiful.
for him. Derrick Henry signed his franchise tag, so he's still playing. They signed Vic Beasley. I wanted to mention this name just because I like him in Madden. Mikul Pruitt.
Nicole Pruitt.
Yeah, dude.
Pruitt. Yeah.
He's got some speed.
Yeah, he's a beast. I like Vic as well. Vic's an old school name, but
Yeah, I mean, I mean, cool in terms of fantasy, not drafting him, but I like him. He's just a good guy.
yeah, for sure.
But I mean, nothing really
And the
changes.
Tannehill, we learned last year he's a monster. So
Yeah, potentially he puts in games, man. He's got a couple games that, yeah.
yeah, I think Tannehill and Derrick Henry are both on my draft list.
Tannehill's really good for the year because they're not going to want to overdo Derrick Henry. For the playoffs, Tannehill didn't do shit because they're like, oh, feed Derrick Henry, feed Derrick Henry. But, like, you don't want to feed Derrick Henry all year long because you're not going to have Derrick Henry for the playoffs if you do that. So it's like,
Yeah,
Tannehill puts in some numbers. I love the
And
receiver,
AJ Brown,
AJ Brown. Yeah.
Arthur Juan Brown, 1,051 yards, bro. One of the top, actually, I think the top rookie receiver of all of them.
Yeah, he put in work, bro. So, I mean,
He
nothing
had the most
changes.
yards,
You
I
just,
think.
you just know what they are now.
Yeah, they have an identity, which is so nice.
Yeah. So,
Because in previous years we didn't have an identity for the Titans. We
previous
just
year you wouldn't
assumed
draft
they were
Titans.
trash.
Now it's like, oh, Titans. I'm actually buying. Like, I like
Yeah,
this guy.
Derrick Henry runs with passion. AJ Brown is massive, has huge hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tannehill is throwing dimes. That's a team that you need to be getting those elite players. Honestly, as far as triples go, like getting like 3 from the same team, that would be a great triple stack.
It wouldn't be bad.
Derrick Henry, Tannehill, and AJ Brown. That'd be an elite stack.
It's not bad. And then with the Patriots getting shittier,
Yeah, huge.
but that pretty
So-
much wraps it up for the AFC.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of teams that have a lot of things to come with rookies and all that.
Yeah.
And just like it was with the NFC, but I think that's a good breakdown for where these guys are now and what they need going forward. Because there's certain teams that we talked about that, I mean, they have some gaps that need to be filled on offense, and some of those rookies are going to be looking to fill those gaps and draft those rookies. Like,
Right. And there's some things that still have to go, like Clowney. Clowney's still got to be picked up somewhere. You know, some big names still
that's
out there.
big. Yeah.
There's a couple things that
Not a lot
happen
of
in the
huge
NFC
fantasy
that
names.
a couple things that happened in the NFC that we didn't get a chance to say because we made the video before. But like Funchess going to the Packers, Cowboys picking up Poe and Aldon Smith signing there. That's interesting. A couple of little things like that, but not too much in terms of fantasy.
No, yeah, nothing huge. So we'll stay tuned for the draft. See what happens. Maybe we'll live stream for the draft. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows, dog?
Definitely got to live stream for the draft, bro.
I'm up for it.
So, anyways, that'll wrap up this video. Stay tuned for the next one.
All right, guys.